Good evening to you. I'm Glenn Mills, ABC4, proud to bring you a week of debates for Salt Lake City Council. Tonight we feature the race for District 2. The district runs from I-80 to 2100 South and I-15 to about 7455 West. It is one of the most diverse sections of the city and includes the Glendale and Poplar Grove neighborhoods. There are many small businesses here, and the Sorensen Multicultural Center also located in the district. There are 5 candidates in the running for District 2, and they do include incumbent Dennis Ferris, Billy Palmer, Alejandro Puy, Nigel Swaby, and Daniel Tuutau, who is not here tonight due to a prior commitment. We are going to start this debate with opening statements. These opening statements will last 1 minute each. Prior to the debate, it was determined that Mr. Ferris will have the first opening statement. Mr. Ferris, the next minute is yours.
Thank you. My name is Dennis Ferris, and I am your representative on the City Council for District 2. I'd like to thank Glenn Mills for moderating, ABC4 and CW30 for hosting us here in this space, giving us the airtime to discuss these important issues tonight. I've lived in Poplar Grove for 18 years now, having started my service career right out of high school by joining the Air Force, following in my parents' footsteps. Afterwards, after the military, I moved to Utah and met my wife, Catherine. Her parents, Fred and Isla Rose Fife, who have a very long history of public service on the west side of Salt Lake. They surprised me one day and invited me to my first community council meeting for Poplar Grove Community Council. Without my knowledge, they nominated me to be the vice chair of that community council, and I accepted that nomination. Since then, I've spent the last 12 years focusing my efforts specifically on this community to improve our west side, to take concrete steps to move
Ferris,
forward.
we're going to have to really stick to our time here, so we will be able to get into more of your thoughts as we get into our questions. I'm sorry about that, but we do need to move on to Mr. Billy Palmer for the next minute.
Hi, my name is Billy Palmer, and I am running for Council District 2 because I'm a West Sider, born and raised in Glendale, mostly, some parts of Poplar Grove at times. Ever since the age of 16 years old, when I first fell in love with community activism and community work, building low-income houses with youth works for families that would not normally be able to afford houses, I fell in love, like I say, in being able to advocate for my neighborhood and increase opportunity for young folks along the west side. And since then, I've worked very diligently. Back when I was about 23 years old, so close to 25 years ago, I got reinvigorated with community work in going back and volunteering for youth works. And ever since, it's been a long ride of constant activism and making sure that we deliver for our neighbors.
Okay, thank you very much. We turn now to an opening statement from Alejandro Puy.
Hi, I'm Alejandro Puy. I'm running for Salt Lake City District 2, which is, as you know now, Poplar Grove, Glendale, and half of Fair Park. I am running because this district is home. It looks like me, it sounds like me, and I feel at home here. I chose District 2 because it feels like home and I want to help it. As a new American, as an immigrant, as you can tell by my accent, I want to give back to my community. I want to help District 2 and the west side to get what we deserve. Salt Lake City can do more and better for the west side. And I'm running because we need to shake the trees to make things happen in the west side. We need to find solutions for the many families that look like me and many others, other nationalities and other cultures. Thank you so much. I hope I have the opportunity to tell you more about me.
Our final opening statement tonight comes from Nigel Swaby.
Good evening. My name is Nigel Swaby. My family moved to Utah when I was 6 years old from the country of Jamaica. I grew up on the west side of Salt Lake. I went to Riley Elementary. I went to Glendale Junior High, and I was in the second to the last graduating class from South High School. I am very familiar with the challenges that these neighborhoods have faced for my entire life, and I'm eager to take on the challenges that we have in front of us. As I've talked to people, public safety, homelessness, and the inland port are the biggest concerns that they express. And those are the things that I think are most important for our city. When I moved to Fair Park 6 years ago, I decided that I was going to get involved with my community. I worked my way up to become chair of the Fair Park Community Council, and I served for 3 years as chair of the River District Chamber. So I've been West Side proud since 1977, and I would love to get your vote to serve the community I grew up in.
Okay, as we mentioned earlier, one candidate was not able to be here with us tonight due to a long-standing prior commitment. He did send us a statement on his candidacy, which we did agree to read on air, so we're going to get to that right now. My name is Daniel Tu Utau, and I'm running for District 2's Salt Lake City Council seat. Originally from inner city Los Angeles, I moved to Utah 10 years ago to complete my doctoral studies in music at the University of Utah. I apologize for not being in attendance. I sing with Utah Opera Chorus, and tonight we're performing The Barber of Seville at Capitol Theater. I'm running in District 2 because my current work with the Pacific Island Business Alliance, a PICTAR program, has shown me how important it is to get marginalized people to the table where decisions are made. I know the discussion tonight with my fellow candidates will cover many of the topics that are most important to me as well, such as economic growth in District 2, wider community involvement, public safety, and housing issues. Thank you to all those participating for your efforts to improve our West Side communities. I'm Daniel Tu Utau, a Tongan American resident of Poplar Grove who's running for Salt Lake City Council District 2. And I'm not just asking for your vote, I'm asking for your participation. All right, the format of tonight's debate. Let's get into that. Each candidate will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to respond to our questions. After each candidate has had that opportunity to speak, we will allow for 30 seconds of rebuttal time on some of the questions where they will be able to address statements that were made by other candidates in the race. Rebuttal time may be replaced with a follow-up question that'll be at my discretion. At the end of the debate, each candidate will have time for a 1-minute closing statement as well. We do want to make clear the questions have come from us right here at ABC4 and our newsroom, and the candidates have not had access to these questions. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin on the topic of growth. Currently, there's a plan to redevelop the Tejada Market, one of the only grocery store locations in Glendale, into a multi-family project. So the question to you tonight, candidates, how do you look at housing growth where there are only a few places to buy food as it is? Mr. Palmer, this first question will go to you.
You know, I think that's a great question. All along the west side, we have seen businesses close, and I grew up in a Glendale where you could walk down the street and watch a movie at the movie theater, see your dentist in our great facilities nearby. We could go to play video games, go to the department store, you name it, in the neighborhood. And since we have seen a lot of loss of business in our neighborhood, as far as that particular project, I could see where we have opportunity. We don't have to just lose that business. We could put out a PRF and absolutely make sure that mixed use is put in place. And I think mixed use should be taken very seriously when we talk about the west side, because we are looking at less and less property that you can even buy. And our business nodes need to return. Economic development should go right along with housing. The two should always be tied together. And if you tell a community that we're going to build apartments and take away a business, then you're telling that community we're going to drop the AMI, the average median income of that neighborhood, and not give you the resources that you need to get to go buy your groceries. So why not a grocery downstairs in other markets, as well as people living upstairs? It works in many cities and other communities. It should work for us.
Mr. Pui, we turn to you. Your thoughts on development and specifically the Tejada Market project.
So this is something very close to me because I have visited this shop many times, and we deserve better. We need to start doing better multi-use development in our district. The West Side is home to all cultures, all nationalities. Is home to people like me and to all of us here. That is one of the most entrepreneur and creative communities in Salt Lake City. We can make we can have nodes, community nodes, that are business nodes that help our community shop in our own neighborhoods. We could do better than what we're doing right now. We are following a master plan, a West Side master plan that is antiquated and old and needs to be updated to match the community that we have right now. I believe that we can do better. We have one of the most beautiful gems of Salt Lake City here in the West Side, and I bring that to the table, some creative thinking and some leadership. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Swaby, we will turn to you for the next 90 seconds.
Thank you. This is a great question, and it's definitely on the minds of a lot of residents. I spoke to a voter yesterday for about an hour about this subject. What a lot of people are seeing right now are businesses leaving because of redevelopment, but what they don't understand, particularly on North Temple and in the mixed-use areas, that businesses are going to come back. But we have to have the rooftops, so to speak. We need to have the population there. Near North Temple, where I live, there's about 2,000 housing units slated to come online within the next few years. They're either in planning or under construction. And there's going to be a tipping point where people come and rush to lease those ground floor places. In the meantime, I work as a real estate agent, both commercial and residential, and I manage the old Wiener Schnitzel, and I told the owner, we have to get somebody in here now. We can't let this property rot like the other buildings in the area. So going to the Tejada market specifically, I do have some concerns about it because that is a residential area. I used to walk to the Safeway that was there when I was a kid, and there's a lot of single family around it. We need to have smart growth. I don't know which rezone they're looking for on that one, but it needs to be complementary with the neighborhood and provide the amenities that the neighborhood needs.
Mr. Ferris, you will be the final one on this question. You have 1:30 to talk about redevelopment in the area, specifically the Tejada Market project.
Thank you. Our neighborhood is changing. We have to change with that. It's certainly sad to see this small business go away, if that's their choice. However, we have just implemented within the neighborhood the 9-line CRA, a community reinvestment area. This gives us millions of dollars of potential economic capital to incentivize new economic development in our neighborhood, to be able to bring in these businesses to improve and grow the amenities that are in our community. We have many new developments like the West End development at 9th South 7th West that just received its certificate of occupancy. Those give 4 to 6 new retail spaces available that we can have the new small coffee shops, bike shops, taverns in our neighborhood that we deserve. Something else that we will need to do is make some changes to our current rail corridors to be able to improve our east-west connectivity so that we can have consistent mass transit options in our community, to be able to bring in customers so that our residents can be able to enter and exit our community and access these businesses to keep them alive as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Instead of a rebuttal, 30 seconds, I want to go ahead with a follow-up question for all of you on this one. We mentioned that the area lacked options for groceries and for shopping for food. I heard some of that addressed in some of your responses to the question, but I want to talk specifically. Is there a lack of options when it comes to grocery shopping in the area, and does that need to be addressed along with the development? Mr. Palmer, the first 30 seconds will go to you.
Well, the simple answer to that is yes. We do live in parts of our neighborhood where there is a food desert. There has been a neglect of our community in developing economically. I don't want to blame it. That's the past with plenty of fingers to point, but I want to fix it. We can develop better. We have opportunities to develop better and more comprehensively, but absolutely yes, that's the problem.
Mr. Puy, is there a food desert issue in the area, and how would you address it?
Yes, it is. And how I will address it by showing leadership when we are talking about planning. Right now, we are just not thinking about the local businesses, not thinking and not understanding the community. This is one of the most entrepreneurial communities we have. You know, from empanadas to tacos to all sorts of goods that our community makes. We need to understand our community, and we are failing at it. We need to create knots, community knots, business knots, and we will have the amenities we deserve.
Okay, Mr. Swaby, we turn to you. The next 30 seconds are yours. Address the lack of food options in the area.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of grocery shops in the area, particularly that part of Glendale. But I think that's going to change, and how we see it is going to be different. For example, in my neighborhood on 3rd North, there's a Lee's Market, which has, it's small, it's on the ground floor of a mixed-use building, and it's got a lot more products than we're used to. And the other side, Village, that's being proposed, would also have a grocery store. So I think there's a good progress in future.
Okay, Mr. Ferris, wrap us up. The final 30 seconds go to you.
Salt Lake City cannot stop this private market from closing down. That's their choice. What we can do is definitely incentivize new economic development to replace this market. We absolutely need this in this area because there is a food desert. We have very limited options, and we have to expand that. But along with that, that's where we have the economic development options with the new community reinvestment area that has just been established.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and stay on this subject. District 5 is one of the most diverse areas within Utah's capital city, but some longtime residents worry about gentrification. So how do you respond to those concerns, specifically in the Glendale and Poplar Grove neighborhoods? Mr. Pui, you will get the first minute 30.
I mean, gentrification is a problem and it's dangerous because it's pushing away families from our own neighborhoods. Displacement is very dangerous, and we need to address it correctly. We understand that our city is growing. We understand that we need to double in population. We're going to double in population very soon, but we can do better to understand that in the west side there is a lot of families that are struggling, and they need our assistance. They need leadership, and we're failing at this. We have opportunities to protect the west side and to grow smartly, but we're not doing it correctly. So that is very important to me. Affordable housing and deeply affordable housing is something that we need to be thinking, but we need to do it right. We cannot put together all the affordable housing on the west side. The whole city also needs to develop. We are growing a lot, but we need to do it better.
Okay, Mr. Swaby, your thoughts on gentrification within the district. You have a minute 30.
Thank you. Gentrification is one of the reasons that I moved to Fair Park in 2015. I could see the development that was going to take place. And I spoke to people within the investment community, and they said, yeah, we're not afraid of Rose Park. We're not afraid of that area anymore, and they've proved that. They've done a number of amazing remodels in the area, but it does affect the current residents. And I think there's a couple of ways to deal with that. I've heard there's a program in Ogden where they help foster home ownership by having the city go in with the buyer, maybe somebody that wouldn't otherwise qualify. And if that person defaulted for some reason, then the city would have a more valuable piece of property that they could repeat and offer home ownership to more people. We also have to look at rental contracts. One of the biggest things that I hear as a complaint are people who get their leases sold out from under them. But when you dig into it a little bit deeper, you find out, well, I've been on a month-to-month for 5 years. Well, I'm sorry. We're in a rising rent environment. Maybe provide leases or sign leases where you provide a rent increase at that year point so that you don't get kicked out and the offer for purchase isn't as valuable to the owner.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ferris. Your thoughts on this concern for many long-time residents of your district?
This is an utmost concern. Gentrification is absolutely a problem in our neighborhood. Rents have risen 12% in the first 6 months of this year. Housing prices have risen 28% in just the second quarter of this year alone. Affordable housing can help to impact this issue dramatically. If we maintain our affordable housing and improve our affordable housing diversity of housing stock option and placement within our community, we can allow for the wonderful diversity that our community has in District 2 to be maintained, to improve and grow multi-generationally, to be able to let your children and your children's children be able to afford a home in that area. We have to continue to incentivize to keep and replace any naturally occurring affordable housing in our neighborhood. We have to be able to take those units anytime that a new development does come in. If they are replacing something, let's make it mandate that it be replaced in the new development, that we have those affordable units. Again, with the new 9-line CRA, Community Reinvestment Area, within our area, that gives us a lot of financial, economic tools to be able to do these types of steps to help impact the gentrification problem in our community.
Mr. Palmer, you're up next, the final minute 30 on the topic of gentrification.
You know, one thing I'm not hearing here is a sense of urgency. We need to act quicker on housing. We need comprehensive mixed income housing, not just in the West Side. That's constantly being addressed of how we deliver to the West Side low income housing and mixed income housing, but throughout the entire city. I personally believe, and this has been something that's been drilled into me as a board member of NeighborWorks, where we revitalized our neighborhood, and we don't want to lose what we've gained. But a cook, a kitchen manager, a restaurant owner, a dishwasher should all be able to live near the restaurant they work in. And that should be true all along the city. And we need to make sure that we're talking across the city and building bridges so that we, along the entire city, all of the city council can agree that low-income housing belongs all throughout the city, not just on the West Side, not just on the fringes of the West Side especially. 700 units clear out at the edge of the city is not how we are going to serve people responsibly. We are on course right now to build more low-income housing on the fringes, outprice our neighbors. I talk to plenty of neighbors that are renting right now in our community that want to buy homes in our community. We need to make that happen for our neighbors.
All right, we just heard Mr. Palmer talk about urgency, saying he didn't hear that from the rest of you. So I'd like to give you a chance to address that. How do you work urgently on this issue? Mr. Pui, the first 30 seconds are yours.
Well, we need to understand the issue. I mean, you know, I am lucky that I was able to buy a house, and I could not afford my own house today. Understanding this issue is very important, and we need to actually start rethinking our zoning, and we actually need to start doing a smart zoning where we actually are putting affordable housing and deeply affordable housing all over the city, not only on the West Side now.
Okay, Mr. Swaby.
Well, we've got other challenges in the marketplace. First off, we've got a labor shortage. We can create a sense of urgency, but we can't actually address the problem if we're short on labor, short on materials, and the expense of both of those in order to get things done. So one of the things that we can do to incentivize is either waive or lower some of the permitting fees or building fees, and that's how the city can get additional growth at a faster time.
All right, Mr. Ferris, we'll turn to you for 30 seconds.
First and foremost, I believe we have to understand how the city operates. As a city council member, we have discussed an affordable housing overlay to lay over this city. Currently, it doesn't cover the entire city. It absolutely should. We need to be able to have affordable housing everywhere because everyone deserves the option of affording a home in the community that they wish to live in. I will certainly continue that work with the investment tools that we have available, also leveraging ARPA dollars to be able to improve those incentives across our community and increase affordable housing.
All right, we're going to have to wrap this up with Mr. Palmer. You have the final 30 seconds on this issue.
Thank you once again. Sense of urgency is, I'm still not hearing it. But we deserve a citywide plan. We don't need to just talk about it. We need to put it into policy, and that is doable. We need a value system in this city that addresses homelessness, quick, rapid rapid housing, and we need to make sure that mixed income housing, we know the demographics, we just have to plan for it.
Okay. We do want to let you know we're about halfway through our debate time. Election Day is Tuesday, November 2nd. Ballots are being mailed out. I got mine today. You may have as well. This year, this race and many others just like it are being determined through ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting is a system where voters can use their ballot to not only vote for their preferred candidate, but also indicate their backup choices. So what you do in this race, for example, you would list your choices 1 through 5, then through a process of elimination. Once one candidate gets more than 50% of that vote, that candidate is declared the winner. Let's go ahead and get back to the debate now. We are shifting to public safety on the minds of many in Utah's capital city, including your district. We have seen issues with the Salt Lake City Police Department well documented of late in the news. So for you, the candidates, I'd like to get your thoughts on salaries for both police and firefighters. Right now, are they too low? Are they too high? Or are they just right? An important issue, our first responders in the community. Mr. Swaby, you begin with a minute 30.
Thank you for this question. It's something that's very important. We're short 50, 60, 70 police officers, depending on who you talk to. I know that I meet every Friday on North Temple. There's city officials and police, and when this raise was handed out, one of those officers who I really respect came to me and he said, you know, I was going to leave without this. Unfortunately, this isn't the only issue. Every other municipality matched that pay raise almost immediately, so that's not the big thing. What the police are concerned about is they don't feel supported. And there's been a number of issues over the last couple of years, incidents. We saw the riots last summer, and they don't feel supported by our administration or our city council. So they think that Salt Lake City is a fine place to work, that there's lots of opportunities, but we're losing officers to other jurisdictions within the valley. We really need to make a positive public statement about our police. We need to support them. They're the ones that are out on the street, patrolling, making those busts like they did at Madsen Park yesterday. They are protecting us. They are working for us. And Salt Lake City, as the capital city, needs to lead the way when it comes to salaries and benefits. Officers from other jurisdictions should seek Salt Lake City as the place to be.
Mr. Ferris, we turn to you. Talk about salaries for our public safety officials.
Upon my appointment to the Salt Lake City Council to replace Andrew Johnston, I was appointed in May. We, very first thing, dug into the budget. We approved a budget in June as I led the fight to improve our salaries for our public safety employees, putting both our police and firefighters as the best paid in the state, plus 1%. Adding 4.5% to our 911 dispatch employees. We made a pointed effort to ensure that our public safety employees, because they do represent our capital city, they do deal with more and larger and more pressing issues than they would anywhere else, that they get compensated accordingly. Now, along the way, we also in that budget allocated $2 million for an alternate response model to be able to bring to bear additional social workers, EMTs. That model is still being finalized, but along the way, it will be implemented very soon. And this allows, combined with a new medical response team that is stationed in our fire station, in our Poplar Grove Zone Station number 6, as well as doubling the number of social workers currently in the police department from 12 to 24. This allows us to get far more appropriate resources to be able to respond to any call at any time, thereby reducing our response times across the city, making us all safer, and improving the lives of our public safety employees.
Mr. Palmer, the next 90 seconds are yours.
I'll tell you right now, we shouldn't have waited so long to pay people what a living wage suggests. We got into some of these problems because we weren't paying folks well enough in the city. And that goes across the entire city. Our city employees, the fire department, and our police department deserves a livable wage because we need less stressed police officers on the street. You can raise the wage of police officers and still believe in reforming how we serve our community in public safety. Those two things aren't tied together. You got to make sure, first of all, that we're giving people a living wage. I heard earlier that there's a labor shortage. There's not a labor shortage in this city. There is a wage shortage. And we need to make sure that we as a city lead in wages. And so I want to make sure that our responders that come to save lives are being compensated properly. My opponent was on the 1 yard line while all this was being discussed. It was already in motion, it was already proposed, it only took a vote. So one vote does not a legacy make, let's just say that. And we need more than $2 million to change the model. We need a lot more than that.
Mr. Pui, your turn on salaries for our public safety officers.
Look, I was canvassing last night in the Poplar Grove neighborhood, and a family was telling me that there was a drive-by shooting a few days ago. And they called our police, and they didn't hear a response. It was inadequate. But it isn't the fault of our police officers, because we have a shortage of police officers right now, and they are leaving. Last week, 2 officers left after the race that was brought up here. It wasn't enough. They left for another police agency here in the county. Why are they leaving is the question. Why we cannot retain experienced police officers in our own city is the question we should be asking. Just raising them, giving them a little raise on their salaries is obviously not only the solution. We need to redefine policing. We need to start thinking about putting more resources into this. Our communities need a response. When you pick up the phone and call the police, you need them to respond. And our city is failing us at this. The West Side is not the bad part of town, it's the city that is letting those things happen in the West Side. I live there, I relate to these families, I want solutions. Thank you.
Mr. Swaby, you brought something up that I want to dig into a little bit more, that police officers do not feel supported by this current administration or the city council. Talk about how that is. You have 30 seconds.
Well, one of the big challenges was the riot last year that could have been squelched earlier on, but it was left to go. I know that the dog attack issue was another one where they didn't feel supported. I mean, in my mind, there's so many things that go into a shooting incident or an incident like that. You can't really make comment until all the evidence is in.
Okay, Mr. Ferris, I'm sure you have things you want to address here. You have the next 30 seconds to do so.
The raises that were granted to our public safety employees were as much as 30% for some of them. And this because I very specifically fought and created that discussion and made that happen. One officer that left, sure, he lives Nephi, Santa Quinn, I believe, and decided to take a job and save some traffic time. Meanwhile, as far as, my time's up.
Okay, time is up there. We do need to move on, I'm sorry, to keep on track with our timing. So we will now turn to Mr. Palmer for your 30 seconds.
Thank you for this. Not feeling supported, our police officers, I feel terrible about that. I think that we support all good officers that go out there and work really hard for their communities, and there are many of them are my friends, some of them are our neighbors, absolutely. But that's not to say accountability isn't a necessity. It's a necessity for all of us. So let's talk about that honestly and make sure that we're balancing those two.
Okay, Mr. Pui, you have the final 30 seconds.
I mean, what we hear from Mr. Dennis is excuses. Excuses. Last 2 weeks ago, we had an opportunity to meet with the police officers that serve the West Side, and Mr. Dennis refused to show up to that meeting. And it hurts because these are the people that are serving our community on the West Side, and they, it's just, it's not right. We need to thank them for their work, and thank you. My time is up.
Okay, I'm going to make a discretion call, and Mr. Ferris, I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to respond real quick.
I very much certainly support our officers. I speak to them regularly, multiple layers in our police department that I speak to every day, dealing with the issues that are happening in our community. I challenge anyone to speak to any of the officers in our local Pioneer Precinct or even throughout our city and see whether or not they feel that I support them, because I guarantee you that they do.
Okay, in order to get more topics in from here on out, we're not going to have rebuttal time. Let's talk now about alternative groups like the Downtown Ambassadors, who not only greet tourists, but are often the first point of contact for issues such as overdoses and aiding the unsheltered. Should the city fund more groups to help emergency services in this way? Mr. Ferris, this question goes to you first.
Absolutely, and in fact, we did, just last week. We have funded the Downtown Ambassadors to expand their program, to continue their presence in the Rio Grande neighborhood and on North Temple, but to also expand to Ballpark and Fair Park communities. We also fund teams from the VOA's Homeless Outreach Program to be able to engage with persons experiencing homelessness and offer services and help to connect them to resources to get them onto a better path. Do we need more? Absolutely, but we also can't do it alone. Salt Lake City is not the only space in which we have people experiencing homelessness or crime. We need more help from the rest of our region, our communities outside Salt Lake City. The state needs to certainly lead the way in encouraging or even mandating other communities to also provide resources, because Salt Lake, and certainly not the West Side, needs to take that burden on all on its own.
Mr. Palmer, we turn to you. Talk about alternative programs to emergency services.
Yeah, you know, I'm a really big fan of the Ambassador